All right, I'm here for DustCS's ongoing coverage of IEM Cologne 2023, and unfortunately, we're saying goodbye to North America's only representative at the event. So to start off with, the elephant in the room, what happened there in that match against OG? Where do you think things went wrong in the planning and the execution of the game of the series?
Honestly, to start off with, we have to start on Mirage. I think we lost a couple of unlucky rounds, unlucky clutches, and it kind of like dropped the mood a lot. We messed up some of our strats. Obviously, we are a little bit new to Mirage, so we're still like setting up a structure. Mirage. Johnny hasn't called on Mirage for like 2 years almost, so we're still setting up a lot of things and figuring things out and ironing things out, but with the team currently, it's like we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot when the mood drops, when mistakes happens, and when we lose unlucky clutches. And honestly, that was the story on Mirage. Like we let the mood drop, we let the environment go, and the energy went really low, and we just couldn't get ourselves back from there. On Overpass, I think we kept going really strong. We had a lot of rounds where they survived with one or two people, even a round where it was really unlucky, where Johnny died with the bomb in short, and we chased the guy down, and I mean it felt like we could have broken their money at any moment, and then got like 8-2, and then it kind of just spiraled out of control from there. They started securing a lot of rounds. So yeah, honestly, I think we brought it back really well. We managed to actually stay composed on Overpass, which is like showing a bit of growth for the team, just in terms of like keeping the energy levels high, keeping our communication up, even when the game isn't going well for us, because that's something that we really struggle with. But yeah, unfortunately, we just couldn't get it over the line. I think on our CT side, even the runs that we lost, it's just down to too many individual mistakes, too many individuals like trying to go for plays when we don't need to. Like we have a big problem with just sitting still and waiting when we have information. And yeah, that's just something that we have to work with. Players need to learn to become disciplined, because even when the plan's working, if you're not playing disciplined TS, yeah, it's really hard to win.
So with that disciplined play and sort of going for plays when you need to, you've obviously recently brought in EliGE, and he's an incredibly experienced player. Has he been helping the guys manage that hump, or like what are you doing to sort of get over that hump of making people sort of do what they need to do in the rounds and not be passive?
So, I mean, I don't think we have a problem with being passive at all. We have got too many guys going for plays when we don't need to be going for plays, which is kind of, like I said, like we have the opposite problem. It's not that we don't have information a lot of times, that we're going for unnecessary information. To be honest, EliGE, like John, like really came in, is a super hard worker. He brought a lot of things to the team, and it's taking time to work everything in and to like get everything built into our structure. Even back at Blast, Johnny was feeling very uncomfortable with the new structure that we're calling, and we had to change things and try and find a balance between what John brought and what we had before, because I could just feel from behind, like Johnny's not calling his normal style, he's not reading the game the way he used to. So we kind of had to find a balance and iron things out, and we basically had to try and change that like almost 3/4 of the way through the Blast tournament. So at the moment, honestly, like we're just trying to figure things out. We're working very hard. We're putting in long hours. We have been doing that for the past 3 weeks. Unfortunately, it's not showing. Like the results, obviously, super disappointing for us. But yeah, we have a lot to figure out. We're still trying to find the perfect fit of bringing John in and finding that fit for the players as well. But at the end of the day, we still need to work on the players limiting mistakes and playing the disciplined CS if we want to win.
Another thing I wanted to touch on was sort of the evolution of this team and the things you need to work on. I had a chance to talk to Hallzerk about the fact that he wasn't able to come to North America with you guys due to visa issues. With that in mind, and then the fact that the fact that he's not for the foreseeable future going to be able to come to North America, is it damaging to have him sort of remote while the rest of the team is in one location, or does that infer you guys will spend more time in Europe moving forward? Or like what's the real impact of him not being able to be with the team at all times, and how are you guys trying to manage that?
It's definitely damaging in a way, if you want to use that word. Not necessarily when we just have practice time in North America, but more when we have tournaments in North America. For example, we haven't practiced with Håkon since the Paris Major. So we've had Dallas without him, we had Blast without him, and then we had the player break. So, and then we brought John in, right? So it's almost like you're bringing two new players in, because we had to play with a completely different strat book with Sonic. We obviously just made a simplified strat book. Sonic hadn't played CS at this level for over a year, so we were just trying to simplify things for him as much as we possibly could. And yeah, so obviously at the end of the day, if you're constantly switching players and playing like different styles and with different playbooks, it is hard to continue evolving, you know, because like now, for example, when we started, it felt like we started from scratch, even with all these things that we brought in. Like, it's a lot of things to work on, and yeah, you have to like basically reintegrate him into the team. So like I said, I don't think it's damaging when we don't have events in North America, but because we can at least practice with him while he's playing from Europe. I mean, it's also tough to practice in North America. I spoke to the announce guys, and I hear like they're playing like 2 scrims a day. So, I mean, obviously tough to actually do a lot of practice in North America. So yes, to answer your question, I think for the foreseeable future, we will be spending the majority of our practice time in Europe, where we can actually have efficient practice and play 5 or 6 scrims a day, and still work on theory and actually evolve the team as much as we possibly can with the amount of time we have.
And with that in mind, the your next sort of important event will be ESL Pro League, which you're in Group D, which will be starting in about 8 weeks. What are the priorities for the team ahead of Pro League?
I think for starters, while we're in North America, we still have to figure things out. I mean, obviously, like the focus was just on these 2 events and what we can do for these 2 events with the limited amount of time that we have. But I think what we'll have to do is in North America, we'll just have to figure out what structure everyone's actually comfortable with, so that once we hit our European boot camp, which will probably start about 2 weeks before our group, for Pro League, we actually have everything set and we can just focus on playing scrims and getting reps in, because at the moment it's really hard to structurize everything and still get reps in without spending 14 hours a day in a practice room, which is obviously not healthy, and you can't keep that going.
And then the final question for you, with the EliGE joining the team, there's obviously a high level of expectations, especially with the fact that now Complex is the de jure and de facto best team in North America. We're still a long way. We're of course still a long way away from the second major, and we're still, we still have the release of CS2 coming up. So there's a lot of unknowns and uncertainty right now. So between now and the release of CS2, as a team that's sort of looking to sort of settle in, is it hard for you guys to settle in with the sort of uncertainty around CS2? And how important is this sort of weird period between the player break and CS2?
I mean, from our side, not at all. Our focus has just been on CSGO. There's no point focusing on CS2 at the moment when you don't know when the release of the game is going to be. So honestly, at the moment, everyone's just full focus on CSGO. We're just grinding it out, and we'll be grinding it out until we actually have more information around CS2.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you very much.